Welcome to the One Up Podcast. I am your host, El Caballo, a.k.a. Tony. Here with my co-host, nearest and dearest in the building. Got DJ Doey Fresh on the ones and twos.
Yo.
Tech Fleece Dough.
Yeah, fleeced up.
Fleeced all the way up. Also in the building, the bald one, the great one, Pucho.
What's going on, my brother?
Not much. The glistening is just it's wet. It's out there. It's just shining.
It's hot natural, baby. Don't put nothing. I just shaved the head. That's it.
It looks like they took the thing that they go over the ice with, the Zamboni, the Zam something. It looks
Is
like
it called a Zamboni?
I don't know, the thing that goes over the ice and makes it nice
resurfacing
and
it.
Yeah.
The thing they drive.
Yeah.
Last but not least,
Zamboni Pooch.
Zamboni Pooch. I actually like that. That's not bad. Last but not least, the Texas one without a gun, Mateo.
How's it going, Tony? It is late.
Oh,
Why we do these things so late?
It's early, baby. It's early if you look at it.
I guess in some sense it's early.
Or, the early bird gets the worm, man.
What is this? The After Hours podcast or something?
This might be.
Some would say.
Well, you wouldn't be here if that was the case. It's crazy going back and watching the first episode ever. It's just like, what was I thinking with that name? Thank God the change came.
I like the idea of us going back and doing our old stuff and just doing the exact same conversations. Like we write scripts for ourselves based on the shit we say.
That's what Doey said. Doey was like, let's go back, listen to what we said. So then let's just re-record. I'm like, I'm not gonna say what 2 years ago me said. I'm gonna just have my own opinion. That guy's probably wrong about a lot of shit. Okay, I have different views. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't mean it like that, but yeah. I just meant like we should like remaster our old stuff. Like should like try to do it again. Because if you go back, some of those topics were pretty good for like, you know what I mean? We had some pretty good topics back then. The first 20.
Someone said we burned through our best topics
right away.
I mean, if you remember correctly, the first 5 episodes was all about bikes. Bikes and bikes and bikes.
There was a lot of bike material for sure.
Yeah. Tired of the bike talks.
We're going to get into it. I'm going to the 5-borough bike tour this weekend with watcher of the pod, our boy Matt.
He doesn't watch the pod. He definitely does not watch the pod.
Damn.
He very proudly does not watch the pod.
What a hater.
Non-watcher of the
Who's
pod.
this guy?
Real friends that we all know.
I know this guy.
Maybe not. You probably gamed with him before, though. Honestly,
Probably shot him in the head in the video game, and now he hates
proudly hates on the pod.
he doesn't hate the pod, but he very proudly refuses to watch anything from the pod. He watches the shorts I send him, and that's about it.
Some people, they ain't with it yet. You know what I mean? But that's when you know who's the real. Like our boy Broshi. Broshi gave us 77 likes yesterday. He liked all of our
77 likes.
just went down. Our boy was liking, bro. All right, and that's the type of dedication we need. Okay,
I'm not.
If you haven't, hold on. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button because we have a video out right now. 400 views, 1 like. I'm like, what is this? Like, we can't get a like out here, bro. Like, we can't get nothing, a comment, a share. Nary a share.
I've just been watching Reddit recently to see if we end up on like one of those like YouTubes making fun of like people, like just like any of our clips if they ever make it on like a Reddit like a subreddit that's just making fun of YouTube people. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it means that we're doing something right. We got somebody's attention. Yeah.
Gotta say, though, get your shit off some more. I like that energy. It's just providing.
No,
It's
facts.
just good
We need
energy.
it.
I like
We
it.
need to remind people that we appreciate them.
I appreciate
Teddy.
I appreciate all 541 of our subscribers.
Fuck the whole
Did-
call out.
Did we get our YouTube music fixed, or is that a temporary fix we put in place for Teddy?
I looked at it. It looks like we official, so I'm gonna roll with that. I already posted it
Yeah.
on our Twitter
No,
and
we're
everything.
official.
I was like,
It's fixed.
yeah, it looks good. All right. Shout out to Tech Daddy Teddy. He was telling us, bro, y'all lacking. Y'all could be getting these YouTube music views. And also he would like to use it. He's like, I use this shit. So he's like, I'd like to have your podcast on here too. So shout out to him because he actually put us on recently.
Absolutely.
Not back. Big shout outs. Big shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't like my big shout outs?
I thought you were gonna
you
kick
was
off the
going full
soundboard.
Chet- Yeah, I thought you were going full Chet Hanks there. You heard that? Like, he was putting a little- I heard you.
That's great.
You was talking. You was on your white boy summer shit.
I want
Yeah.
my white boy summer shit. It's
Okay.
almost summer. Definitely almost summer. I can't wait. I'm not
He was
gonna
about
lie.
to be on his big up.
Big ups.
Tony is
Big up.
Tony is the original island boy.
I am the original.
Yo,
Island
why I
Boy.
saw a
Mhm.
picture
Oh.
of the Island Boys allegedly with Jeffrey Epstein. You saw that?
What?
What?
It was like a picture of two young boys. I mean, it shouldn't laugh because Jeffrey Epstein, but it was a picture of two young boys. One was blonde, one was like had darker hair, and they kind of looked like twins. And they were saying that those two kids are the Island Boys, but like when they were younger. or something.
What?
No way. That
That's
is wild.
It seems unbelievable. It's just something I like crossed they were like, look at the Island Boys. Makes so much sense. And it's like a picture of them. And Jeffrey Epstein got like a hand on both their heads or some shit like that. It's terrible.
But I'm super excited for the summer. We got a family friends vacation coming up. I'm trying to do a trip out to NY with the pod. Hopefully we get that settled down and do an in-person recording maybe. And then going to what was it, San Fran? We're going to San Francisco?
You don't even know where he's
Are you
going.
talking
I don't
about
even
from PAX West?
Yeah, from PAX West. Where are we going? What
you're,
state?
You're going to the wrong city, bro.
San Francisco,
All I know
baby.
is I booked it. I'm ready to go.
So someone check Tony's flight tickets.
Pucho's my assistant when it comes to flights. He needs to set it up. He's just lacking.
Tony's gonna be in San Francisco by himself, like calling us up. Where you all at?
I'm out here.
Somebody just broke the back window of my car right now.
I
I don't know
googled this.
what's happening.
I googled this Airbnb we're staying at. It says it's 36 hours away.
Can't be right.
No, yeah, I'm excited, man. Can't wait
PAX
for
West,
vacation.
dude. PAX West is gonna be good stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we get a lot of content. Just go out there, enjoy, and promote. Big promotes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on my PAX bod. All right. I've been working on it. Come September, I'm gonna be down over 100 pounds. That's my
That's
claim.
crazy.
All right?
I'm making
That's
the
what I'm shooting for.
I'm making the claim for Booch right now. Booch is gonna have a 12 pack by the time we get 2 packs.
Hold me to it. If I don't have a 12 pack, you guys should bring me a 12 pack. Just to be like, you're trash. Here's a 12 pack because you don't got a 12 pack. I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Hold me to it.
It's fire.
I love it. That's good energy. I like it. It's wholesome.
You hold somebody to it, right? It's the best way. But do we get to choose the beer though? I'll give you like a 12 pack of Coors Light.
Ugh, natty
drinking
ice.
Yeah.
Natty
Choose the beer.
Ice.
Choose the-
Fucking.
I didn't make my own 12 pack, so you bring your 12 pack of your choosing. I accept it. I would hope you would be spreading love and positivity. You know what I'm saying?
Good beers.
You're gonna come through with Coors Light. You know we don't do Bud Light no more. I'm kidding. Yeah, come through with Bud Light. I don't want to drink that crap because it sucks.
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy. People still
That's
drink
crazy.
Bud Light and Coors Light and Natty Ice. I just don't understand.
There's a market there. They call it football beer because you take so many for you to get drunk. You can watch an entire football game and kind of just ride a buzz.
I can
So, like-
I can drink some Coors Light. You know how you know that I can actually drink some Coors Light? Because I've got a preference. I like the yellow belly, like the little bottles. And when I'm ordering it at the bar, I say, take one Corlette, because that's how you order a Coors Light at the bar.
Corlite?
Corlette.
Corlite?
I've never
Never.
ordered one at the bar. I don't think I ever will. Yeah, those beers are, to me, those are just like college beers. They're
sure.
so cheap, and when we were in college, right, we just wanted to be drinking beer the whole time, like Doey said. So it's like you could be pounding beers back while playing poker, or you could buy a shitload of Bud Light and play like a bunch of beer pong and things like that. And you don't really run out of beer as fast. You start buying these craft beers, you're gonna go broke. People throwing ping pong balls into a fucking IPA. It's like,
that'd be funny.
It'd be expensive.
Bringing out your 90-minute Dogfish Head IPA.
Yeah.
You paid $15 for a 4-pack of.
Thinking the ball that fell on the ground, everybody stepped on. Satellite Cup Doughboys 90 IPA. Over
Shit
with.
it's gonna throw off the ABV, bro.
I gotta say though, Texas does have a lot of good craft beers. Not gonna lie.
There's a brewery or two down here.
I remember when we went there and I pulled up on you guys. You guys were at one of those spots. I was tight. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little tight because you guys are so lit, and I'm fresh off a plane, and I don't even have a beer in my hand. I think maybe it might have been Doughboy, but I feel like it was Pucho. Just came with a big old cup of beer for me, like, here, drink.
exactly. How are you gonna put that on dough? I literally, as soon as you pulled up, I handed you the beer.
It was
right? I
amazing.
wanted you to be instantly infused into the party. Right?
I was infused for sure with the luggage on me. I was backpack dough, but I was toned though. Ooh, backpack dough. That's fire though.
Backpack.
Yeah.
Dough.
There's no backpacks allowed at the 5 Borough, but I'm bringing my backpack and I'm gonna tell those people suck my dick. I'm riding in this fucking shit, whether you like it or not.
How are they going to enforce that?
I have no idea, but they
It's
said
a
don't
bu-
bring your backpack.
It's a bike tour, right? Like you could just start
Bro.
following other. that
We're gonna-
doesn't make any
We're
sense.
gonna have a big conversation about New York City in a little bit.
What's the logic behind not bringing a backpack?
The Boston Bomber.
That's why.
I wouldn't bring your backpack.
Yeah, you're gonna be. Yeah. Don't do
I'll
that.
tell them, just look, it's just marijuana. That's it. That's all I have.
You have a back.
Right?
You gonna go with a backpack full of marijuana?
Hells yeah, I'm gonna be smoking. I'm gonna be chilling. I'm gonna be
Five-
vibing.
5 pounds of Kush.
Might
That's-
even take some shrooms. It's gonna be an event, all right?
You're gonna crash for sure.
No, I'm not.
On shrooms, riding a bike through NYC.
I'm gonna be vibing.
Don't crack your elbow.
What
You-
the vibes look like. All right. I
That's-
ride. I can't. I try to ride as safe as possible, but God, let's hope nothing happens.
I
Because
try to ride as safe as possible, but I have a backpack full of drugs and I'm gonna eat it all up. Like that is definitely not safe.
and music.
I found the fixie I'm going to buy, Doey.
Mm.
Go!
I found the fixie I'm going to buy.
I'm so
It's got-
excited.
It's got a flip flop, so like I don't have to be fixie if I don't want to commit to it. But I think I'm going to try riding it fixie for a bit.
Good.
Once I can ride
Can
again.
we explain what a
Wait.
fixie is?
No brakes.
It has handbrakes.
Okay, thank God. All right.
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
God.
It'll have handbrakes.
All right.
What's a fixie?
So there's 2 kinds of single gear bikes. There's fixies and then there's just single gear. Single gear you pedal, and then if you stop pedaling, the pedals don't move, but the bike keeps moving. The fixie is permanently attached. So when you pedal, the wheels move. When you stop pedaling, the pedal moves on its own because it's
Keeps them-
fixed to the wheel, so it's moving as the bike is moving.
Is that the normal ways of bikes? The fixie?
It's old school. It's definitely old school. It's what the hipsters ride.
Oh, so you don't want a fixie on normal bikes then now today? Right?
Even the word fixie is like a dirty word in the cycling community. It's weird once you get
Is it
in.
really?
Yeah, people would say it's a fixed gear. But yeah, I mean, everybody's the outside. You don't really like know, but like yeah, fixies are cool, bro. There's a lot of cool track bikes, a lot of cool fixies. I can't wait to see what you get. That's fucking exciting.
Oh, it's all white and black. It's just all white and black. The frame is just this pearl, straight white, super white color on it.
Do you
Should
know
be good
what the
stuff.
gear? Do you know what the gear set's gonna be? Like how many? What's your cassette in the front, and then your gear set in the back?
Ooh, I don't know that much. It's one of the state bikes, so it's
Yeah,
whatever their default little like gear is. I'm not paying
yeah.
$350 for like one of their special custom
Um,
gears or anything.
what I'm saying is, when you start to ride in your area,
Hmm.
you can work on gear sets that work better for your terrain and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Because some gear sets on fixies, it might be a little too hard.
Hmm.
Because maybe you're in a hilly area, so you need a smaller gear set. It's important to like make sure you're comfortable with the gear set.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of bike talk. Every week is a bike talk.
Hmm.
I'm getting sick of these bike talks.
My eyes light up when you talk about that.
Yeah, the bike talk's a little intense. So it was a little intense. I was like, all right, I don't know. Just at the end. I used to ride mountain bikes for a long time.
Mhm.
And just, yeah, when you want to go faster, you go to your biggest gears, but they are the hardest to pedal. If you're going to go uphill, you go to like
the lowest gears.
the smaller gears. It's very fast pedaling. So
Mhm.
yeah, if you're buying a bike with a single gear, then yeah, you got to try to figure out what the one size fits all gear for the terrain you live around. Yeah.
Mhm.
I tell you what, though, I'd rather talk about a bike here and there than talk about Carlos Mencia. Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We-
I can't believe Doey's so infatuated with talking about that guy.
I'm glad he's.
That would, if we ever do it, it's gonna be the shortest episode ever. I don't know how we're gonna have any material to talk about a comedian from 20 years ago.
Carlos Mencia. Yeah, I don't know why he's so eager to have that conversation.
No,
I don't know what I would say. I have no words.
I guess we can get into Dane Cook too. Didn't he allegedly steal jokes or something?
Dane Cook. I remember people didn't like that guy.
Everyone loved him for a little bit, man. Dane Cook was everywhere, but everyone I talked to said they hated him. Like, who were his fans? Who was watching him?
Yeah, I didn't have no problem with the guy. Thought he was
He
funny.
was good. He was good in the movie Waiting.
Right. My favorite, yeah, when the guy, at the end of Waiting, when the guy quits, and he's like, and you're the biggest piece of shit of them all. And he leaves. He's pointing at Dane Cook, and Dane Cook's like, what the fuck did I do, man? What did I do, man? I always found that hilarious. The only thing I found Dane Cook funny in.
So that little
What a
10
good
seconds.
what a good movie. I bet it. I wonder if it holds up. It's been so long since I've watched it, but man, what a good movie at the time.
I think it holds up.
There's a lot of things that I don't know. I like the only thing I remember about that whole movie was those people came in right at the last second closing time and they just straight they violated that dude's state.
Mhm.
Throwing it in his pants in the back, in the front, throwing a little danger salt on it. It's a violation.
It's the woman. The
Oh,
woman
it's
put
the
her
woman.
finger in there. Not hard. This steak is cold. You're like, no, we'll fix it right away. Yeah, my brother worked at a restaurant for a little bit. He said that it got pretty gross back there.
That sounds miserable. This is why I don't complain at restaurants, dude. It's food. I'll eat food. I don't care unless you're serving me like raw chicken or something. Like,
There's
Yeah.
people that I don't even go out with because I know their tactics.
actually, that's a question. If a restaurant served you raw food, are you actually going to send it back to cook it further, or are you just not trusting the restaurant anymore and you're just not going to order anything?
I would already be super sketched out if it was raw, and I'd be like, "Whoa, somebody back there is not bar rescue." Doughy would activate. All right, somebody back there needs to get fired.
What's the name? John Tafar? What was
Shut the entire establishment
What
down.
happened?
Nah, so for me, it would depend, right? If it's a place I've been to plenty of times,
Mhm.
then my reaction would probably be like, all right, somebody just messed up this one day. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but like, let's figure out what the hell's going on. But if it's like a new place, a place I haven't been to, I'm out of there. I'd be like, yo, look, I'll look at the waiter, waitress, whoever, and be like, yo, look, this chicken is raw. You see it's raw, right? All right, I'm out of here. I ain't paying for this. I don't want you to cook nothing else for me. I'm respectfully getting the hell out. I don't trust what y'all doing. I'll be out. I ain't sending back a piece of chicken for them to actually cook this time.
Well,
Yeah,
if is it
You
more
lost me as a customer, yeah.
is it more that you're afraid that they can't cook it or they're gonna mess with your food?
The former, honestly, for me. I don't trust their cooking ability anymore. I don't want to eat there.
Okay, I was gonna say 'cause
Send John Taffer in there, all right? Immediately.
Oh, John Taffer.
Does John Taffer
Still-
save restaurants
still-
as well?
I mean, the bars have food attached to them sometimes.
He's a
So
jack
he'll
of all
save
trades.
Bars
Yeah,
and bars and grills.
Yeah.
Bar and grill.
He gets tactical everything. Everyone he gets is the expert. The biggest expert.
Oh, that's just like the Pawn Star dudes, where someone brings in like an
yeah.
obscure like coin from the Civil War, and they're like, "Oh, we've got a Civil War coin expert that we can bring in for this one."
It's crazy how many experts they got at like hands reach. It's like the heck, like that place. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Like, how many unique things are you really finding in these storage like units or pawn, whatever
Pawns,
is getting
shops.
pawned?
Mhm.
But like, it's gonna be guns, coins, cards,
Weird art.
and like different types of like equipment. You know, maybe like a washing machine. I don't know what
A
people
guitar.
pawn, but, you know, right? Yeah, guitars,
Guitars.
things like that. You're gonna probably have just certain people on hand that you're gonna go and have these conversations about.
Do y'all
Or
think
have
it'd be
these
cool?
conversations with.
Do y'all think it'd be cool to go to Las Vegas and just go and visit a bunch of pawn shops? Like, just go and see what kind of stuff we could find at the pawn shops. I bet it's lots of wedding rings and like watches and things like that.
Yeah, I think there's interesting things there. I think just walking into pawn shops is kind of cool, to be honest. Like,
Mhm.
just
I
look
find
at all
them
the.
gross.
They used to have some of the best video games. You go in there, some people pawn their old shit, and they don't even know. So I found some really good finds on pawn shops, but you don't see that anymore.
What's
You said they're
gross?
gross, Pooch?
Tony came up to Orlando. What was that?
You said they're gross?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I just find them
Pawn
kinda
shops.
gross.
Huh.
Yeah, pawn shop. I don't know.
They do
Like-
have a dusty and muskiness about them.
It's a dustiness, a muskiness.
Mhm.
It's somebody some crackhead brought this thing in, and it left it in crackhead condition. Okay, I don't know, something about
just
this.
for
just
you. For that
Yeah,
special
I don't like it. I don't
crackhead.
like
That is true. I went and picked up a guitar at a pawn shop one time, and it left my hands black from dirt. And I was like, I don't think I want to try any more guitars in this pawn shop.
right. Yeah, one time Tony came up to Orlando for like a weekend, and we went to this place near my house or near my old house. And I don't even know if they're still there. Maybe they didn't survive the pandemic, but it was a pawn shop / gun range. So like you could go to this place and grab the pawned guns and shoot them at the gun range.
Wow. That's actually pretty clever marketing, bro.
And he had all types of shit. It was like what's it called when they like stuff animals?
Taxidermy.
Yeah, they had all types of like taxidermy things, all types of like upholstered materials. Then there were like guns. They had some
It was
guitars,
funny.
and then in the corner we went to the gun range. It was like a tiny ass gun range. It was like 3 little lanes. Like it was mad little. Like I felt like this is definitely the place where that guy who came to get a gun who's about to commit suicide shoots everybody in here. And then I was a little bit nervous. I was looking around, kind of like, all right, who's walking into this place? This place doesn't feel safe. This looks like where the mass shooters go to practice their shooting. It's like the pawn shop / gun range. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I
you're
was
definitely marketing to poor people. So pawn shops are already aimed at like people who don't have enough money for the item brand new.
Might be a hot take, but pawn shops is like similar to GameStop at this point. Really think about it. You bring in your old pre-owned bullcrap to a store that also sells other items. Like,
I mean, pawn shops are predatory, right? Like
100%.
they exist as they like.
It's like a form of loan sharking.
Exactly.
because you can
right.
pawn,
Like people
there's
think
like
of pawn
pawning
shops as
and
like a place where you sell something and then people sell something back to you. But really they only sell these items when the original person who pawned it can't buy it back.
Yep.
Really what they're doing is, oh, I brought my wife's wedding ring because I would need more crack to smoke. And they're like,
Damn.
cool, I'll give you $100 for it. When you come to buy it back, it's gonna cost $500. They hold on to people's valuables because they know people are willing to part with more cash to get these valuables back. I don't think they exist for poor people. I think they exist to take money from poor people.
For sure. I had a buddy way back when we worked this not quite minimum wage job, but we were definitely living paycheck to paycheck and struggling. Everyone that worked there, and he had a really nice camera. He was a photographer, and he would pawn his camera every few months, and play that kind of dangerous game of hopefully I have enough here in 2 weeks before they put it on the floor to buy my camera back. Otherwise, here's my entire passionate side project that I can't do anymore.
That's crazy.
They're definitely a little predatory.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Things you got to do. It's life, though. Everybody goes through their ups and downs. Damn, I was gonna ask you something, Pucho. I forgot now. Yo, real quick though, do you guys think that the NBA is rigged?
oh, this is a
No.
huge conversation. Yeah, this is a
Because-
sidetracked.
No,
I don't.
There's
I
a
don't
lot of
think so.
complaints in this Heat game that just happened with 2 bad calls at the end, and I must say, here we go.
There's one bad call
Which one?
where they shot the 3-point and it hit the rim and they called it a shot clock violation. That was against the Heat. That was a bad call. And I don't understand the NBA's like reviewing policy. I'm like, how do they not review this? That was my point of view. The Jalen Brunson foul thing was not a bad call. That was the right call.
The shooting foul?
What are your ugly? What are you
We're talking about the shooting foul?
What about these? What are these dumb?
Because
Jalen Brunson hit a 3-pointer. Hardenstein got fouled, so they gave them an extra shot. And then the question was, "Oh, did the foul? Is that the call you're talking about? Or you don't even know what call?
the call that he wasn't even shooting, and they called it a shooting foul. But he was passing the ball.
They were in the bonus. They were in the bonus.
I don't think I have to go back and look at that. I don't think they were in. I don't think they were in the bonus.
Yeah, the call was there was a foul on the play. He hit the 3, and then they called the foul because a different player fouled a completely different player. No one touched Jalen Brunson. That wasn't even the problem. So then it became they were reviewing the play to see whether the player was getting the shot off before the referees called the foul, which was the case. They didn't call the foul until after he was in a shooting motion. So they said the shot stands, and now you guys still get the extra free throw because of the foul on the other player. It was a completely valid call. Anybody calling it an invalid call don't know shit about basketball.
I mean, they also are Heat fans that are saying that, but no, yeah, that rim shot thing. Totally wrong. 100%. That's why I think it's rigged, because that shot goes in, Knicks don't win.
I don't even know if a ref could have seen that, because the only player who noticed it was the guy who caught the offensive rebound. He was literally standing under the rim. Nobody watching it thought it hit the rim until we saw the instant replay. So like it literally looked like an air ball. Like and then later you saw that all it did was like it went like the ball didn't even move its like motion. It like barely tipped it. Yeah, exactly that thing. And Tony's 90-degree angle or Doey's.
It was
I don't remember who
Doey's.
did
It was
that.
Doey's.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad look. No, I do think that some teams get a lot more calls than other teams, and I just like to say, oh, it's a fix because it bothers people. But I do think like watching the Knick game in the beginning where they gave Mitchell Robinson fouls. The guy he didn't even play the last game. He just got fouled. He got fouled so many times that it was like they just had to keep benching him because they didn't want him to get fouled out. But basically it resulted in him not being able to play. I'm like, I don't know. It just be seeming like some of these calls be crazy.
Yeah. But either way.
It would benefit the NBA if these games were as long and drawn out as possible.
Yeah,
So
of course.
you can't say that there's no benefit for the NBA in it. There's gambling now. There's all sorts of, so an extra game is like how much revenue in gambling. You know what I mean? How much it's just there's a lot of stakes in this. So
Even that Celtic game tonight, right? I'm like, they called so many fouls for the Celtics right in the beginning of the game, and I'm just like, I'm like, yo, the NBA wants the Celtics to win so bad because if they go down 0-2, they're probably going to lose the series, and it's probably only going to be like 4 games. So if they win this series, maybe it goes to 6 games or 7 games. That's extra games of commercials, extra games of advertisements, extra games of fan duel gambling and all types of stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I have those feelings sometimes. Like, call me a conspiracy theorist. I'll accept it.
yeah, when you have billions of dollars at play, people will make shit happen.
Tony's only making a dumb face because he's a Celtics fan, not because of any of the arguments. Just because I said the Celtics.
I can't even argue any of those foul calls things because I didn't get to
You
watch
didn't watch
it.
the game. Exactly.
I didn't get to watch it.
That's why I'm like, why are you making a face? But
I didn't get to
whatever,
watch
I'm
it.
the bad guy.
And I told you what was gonna happen when Embiid came back. I already told you what was gonna happen. It was gonna be bad. We were gonna win because
Nobody else knows what you told them, though.
Because all right, I told Pucho that off air, obviously. I told Pucho that Embiid coming back is gonna be a problem for Philly because they won that first game without Embiid. It's because as a team they were all relying on each other, right? Everybody was kind of like, okay, more strategies were opening up and all that. When you have Embiid, your center focus is Embiid. You can even like, I guarantee you, if I go back and watch it, when I go back and watch this game, Embiid's probably he's probably playing like a little at the 3-point line because they probably had a Hartford out at the 3, and then someone would cut in, and Embiid would just automatically cut to the basket, and there'll be an out to the pass to the 3. I guarantee that's how they were probably running their scheme against that because it's just because it's a focus point.
Embiid only shot 9 shots. He didn't. Even
I'm saying on defense, like he was on defense. And they just had him guarding the paint. No matter if someone were to cut, he leaves whoever he's guarding and goes straight to protect the paint. I can swear that's probably the defense they were running. It's just
he got 5 blocks off of it. So,
but still it didn't help though. I mean, they got blown out. I was happy when I woke up and saw that score.
Yeah, they got blown out because Harden went 2 for 14 and Maxey went 6 for 14. But
I see Maxey had like 3 or 4 fouls too. I don't know if those were early or not, but said I didn't.
They took him out in the second quarter.
Sheesh. But yeah.
Yo. That's what I was saying. I'm like, these questionable calls. They take the key players off the court. And I'm like, I don't know. It just be seeming a little sus. Like.
Yeah. So, in other events, my friend DJ Doey Fresh is going to let us know what's going down in NYC. Joe?
The topic being on the most recent death of a young man in the subway, got killed by one of the strap hangers, somebody who he was riding the subway with. So like that's the focus of the topic, but and I'll digress on. I wanted to talk also about how the system is failing us here in New York. From the top down, and it's causing these type of events to happen. But I also want to ask you guys
So just real quick, an event happened in New York City on the subway train. A man got choked to death. Legit, that's what happened.
By passengers on the train,
by
police or anything like that.
Yep, by a passenger on the train.
Yeah, his name was Jordan Neely of Manhattan. The guy who got
murdered,
choked to death.
Yep.
That's the topic.
And the guy who killed him, we don't know his name yet, but we know that he is a Marine. And we do know some of the things leading up to what happened. Being a New Yorker, and stuff like that. And this is one of the reasons I try to stay away from the trains, is that it's very unpredictable when you get a mentally ill person in the cart with you and they do decide to start acting out or having an episode, and then you're kind of stuck in the middle of it. Um
That's fair. I mean, we really need to get our veterans the assistance they need so they're not going on trains and killing people. I don't know what caused that man to have that mental health crisis.
um I mean, I so like you think go ahead, elaborate on that.
Oh no, I'm just being flippant. No, like obviously, like there was a mental health crisis going on with the homeless person. I just I was reading like the New York Post article about this and a bunch of like the stuff on Reddit about it, and it's very weird to me that people are trying to like talk themselves into it being a justified thing that he that he killed this guy on the train. I don't know. It's odd to me that we're celebrating like this vigilantism, not even vigilantism, because like, you know, the guy was being disruptive, but it's not like, you know, I don't know. It's odd to me that there's people that I've seen on the internet saying that this was a justified thing to choke someone out and kill them on a train.
If somebody like threw garbage at you and spitting on you, what would you do on a train?
I would not choke that person to death and kill them. I can tell you that much.
But you'd beat them up. Would you defend yourself?
I would leave the train. I don't.
What most people do.
I don't try to out crazy someone that's having a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
No one wins in that situation.
But when you're trained to kill, when you're a Marine, when you do,
I think
when
that's
you
a weak.
do, I mean, the Army will train you to kill. If you snap and you understand when somebody's being, and like I understand like there's a death here, but as a New Yorker, if somebody threw garbage on my mom, I'm knocking that guy out. And if he dies, I'm sorry that he died, but I'm not sorry that I defended the person in that situation. So I, as a New Yorker, I'm not letting nobody spit on me. I'm not letting nobody, if it gets to that, then it's gonna be a problem. I'm not gonna walk away if it's actually happening to me.
I'd
I'm
like to know
probably
the
gonna fight that
context.
person.
I'd like to know the context of like, what does it mean to throw trash at somebody? Like, did he throw like a McChicken wrapper at somebody, or did he bring a garbage bag and was like and dumping it on? Because there's levels to this, right? Like the details on what happened is very sparse. They said this guy threw trash at people, and then an altercation broke out, and then the guy got choked to death. And there's a video of it, basically one guy restraining the guy while another guy is choking him to death. And that video is like a minute long or something like that.
So in
if
that
I'm-
case,
And the
if
guy
you think-
he goes limp, unconscious, and they keep choking the guy out.
if you
Which
think
is like,
if you think more than one person is trying to eliminate a threat, do you think that there is an actual threat, or do you think that everybody is overreacting?
Now-
If like, especially if we all are aware of the mass stabbings, and we're in a state of like mass suicide, mass shootings. We had the guy that shot in the train just last year. He went and
So-
shot up the whole train.
So
My thing is I think about it like this. Like we've had discussions about gun self-defense before and things like that, right? If not necessarily Tony, but let's say that a registered gun owner like Tony was walking down the street and someone threw garbage at him and he pulled out his gun and shot that person on the street. Would there be any discussion about whether that was justified killing or not? No, there would not be. You would be like, yeah, you can't shoot someone and kill them for throwing garbage at you. Doesn't matter. Unless the garbage you actually feel like is a threat to your life, you can't shoot someone for throwing garbage on you. The only difference is this man actually choked this person to death. So it's not that like, oh, the only option was to kill him thing. He could try, maybe that's the reason he hasn't been charged. Maybe he's trying to say that he was trying to restrain the guy, blah, 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 whatever. It seems weak to me because the man, you can see him go limp in the video. There's multiple people helping him restrain this person and hold him down.
He didn't have to go that hard, for sure. I
But
think
yeah.
I think his military training kicked in, and it's you either kill the enemy or you don't. I think that's like there's
I don't know.
no
I don't buy that because I'm just
Same.
like, as a somebody that's trained in the military, you would think, wouldn't they have more means to neutralize the threat
For
instead
sure.
of just killing them? Like, shouldn't they have better capabilities to stop somebody? And we say threat. There was nothing. There's no indication that this person was an actual threat. Like anything more than your typical
I-
homeless person
I
on the
think-
New York City subway.
So the thing, previous off-air conversation about this topic, if Doey said that it was all verbal attacks, that the man was just only verbal, no touch,
No,
no physical
read-
touch.
And he threw trash.
I read the thing to you guys, the article.
I'm just going off of what.
But
what
you're
was said.
saying
Sorry,
the
what did
different-
Tony say
yeah.
wrong? It's verbal and he threw trash, right?
Yeah,
That's the only
yeah,
difference?
for sure,
Okay,
for sure, for
perfect.
sure, yeah.
The man threw trash at
Yeah.
him. I could have sworn you
Yeah.
just said that if a man throws trash at my mother, I would knock him out. That's where I
Yeah,
heard the
for
trash
sure,
part.
for sure.
No. The homeless guy who got choked to death, according to an article, was throwing trash at passengers.
And being threatening. It actually said that he was saying that he was tired. I've actually heard this speech before from other homeless people, but they're just tired of not getting money. They're tired of people just looking in them by and not giving them money when they ask for it. And like
Okay.
they go into they have a speech. It's like a panhandling thing.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's fine. So what I'm concerned, or not concerned, what I'm more like curious about is you don't agree with the man killing the guy, right?
For sure. I don't
Okay.
think I think I don't think death is necessary in any means. But let's say you punch somebody and then they fall down and hit their head and die. I think that
Yeah,
there's things that led up to that. And I think if you want to I think you have to look at the whole situation. Did he overreact by choking him out to death? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he should have seen that the conversation, the guy started tapping on him. And when you're tapping, that's a pretty much universal signal that I'm not gonna do anything anymore. So the guy got a lot of indicators. And I think another angle that we have to look at it is the city is failing. It's failing the mentally ill, it's failing the citizens, the MTA, the mayor, the governor. They're all failing the city. The police, they're all failing the city.
All right, what I'm
And
trying to get at.
It's falling. No, but let me talk. It's falling onto the citizens. Now the citizens are going through some where they don't know how to govern. There's a state of lawlessness when you go into the subways. And yeah, the best thing to do at any of the situations is to go to the next car. But when you can't go to the next car and it's confronted with you, and there's nobody, there's no assistance, there's no cops. It's like a state of where these people feel empowered to threaten people, to make people feel intimidated. It's not just him. It's a problem in the subway system for a long time. It's panhandling aggressively. And I've seen it, and I've seen people get intimidated, and it's just only a matter of time before something like this happens.
It just seems like you're on the side of the chokehold now. The way you're talking,
I
it
think
sounds.
when you create a state that allows people to just do whatever the fuck they want and there's no consequence, I think this is the repercussions of that.
So
I think with not to talk for Doe, as I'm not listening, I don't hear this as he's on the side of the chokehold. He's saying the guy shouldn't have choked the guy to death, but the fact that this occurred, it's hard to pin the blame on the individual because the system is broken. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
I think that's wrong.
I disagree, but
That's wrong.
and Tony, where are you trying to take this conversation?
I'm just trying to figure out because it sounds like he's just making excuses for this guy,
Nah,
like
before
taking the
that,
things
you
in
were-
his hand. I don't know. I lost track because he was just kept going.
Alright,
But
yeah.
it just sounds like right now that it's like, oh, the people have to take it in your hand. This is what's happening now because the system is messed up. The system is failing.
Right. So like, yeah, it,
I disagree with you. That man and the other two should be held accountable for that man's death. 100%. I don't care what, if you have training, even worse on you, because you have training, you know when you need to stop. Now,
I think it's wild that there's straight up footage of him killing a man, and he went into the police station and he walked free. Like, that is wild to me. I could not imagine going and killing someone on the street with people filming me, and I walk out of the police station that same day.
Well, that's another issue in New York, is that a lot of people can do stuff like this and they walk away free. You want to know how you kill someone in New York and get away with it? You run them over with the car. Look at the 13, 14 cyclists that have been run over, and then the 20 or 30 from last year. Nobody goes to jail. You're creating a state. And also, people are reading this stuff and they're seeing, okay, what is a life worth? What is a life worth? If a life is worth nothing to the judiciary system, if the life is worth nothing to homelessness, because homelessness is a big topic in New York, but nobody actually ever does anything. And then when something bad like this happens, it comes back up, and then there's like small little efforts made, but nothing really gets done as a New Yorker.
You know what's wild to me about New Yorkers? New York is a very liberal city. And I love that as someone that leans pretty left myself, unless it comes to homeless people. And then a lot of New Yorkers that I meet have these very like hardline, almost conservative-esque views on homeless people. It's a very interesting thing to me. And I think that it's a product of being like in this city where you're just, and you're in the concrete jungle. Like, there's not like suburbs on like when you're in like New York proper, right? Like, that's not really a thing that exists. So you're in the city, you're in the mix with that. I feel like there's just something about being in close proximity like that all the time that just like kind of gives these super liberal New Yorkers just kind of like these hard wing, kind of like right wing approaches to homeless people.
Just to go back,
being aggressively panhandled every single day from 7 p.m. from the moment you get on the train and then when you come back home, still being aggressively panhandled, I think it just loses its air. I think as a New Yorker, you're like, okay, if you could stand on this train and panhandle every single day, and I'm seeing you from sun up to sundown, you can go get a job somewhere. You're walking back and forth, you're able-bodied, you know the whole shtick. This is a problem in New York. Like, there's levels to it.
Well, and that's what I mean by like kind of like the conservative line of thought is that they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. I make it in this city; they should be able to also.
They're making a living by panhandling. That's their job.
I think they're scraping by panhandling, but I mean, like, as we've talked about before, like the actual solutions to like homelessness it's mental health. It's like actual assistance. You can't criminalize people into stopping being homeless. You can't arrest someone into stopping being homeless unless you're just going to put them up in the jail full time and then boom, homelessness solved. That man is no longer homeless. Now he's a property of the state.
Now, just to go back again, because I'm keep losing. It's just, you made a comment saying that the 14 cyclists died by getting hit by a car in New York City.
Just this year, we're on like the 4th or 5th.
And you're comparing that to the same as the man dying on the. There's an issue. There's
an issue. Yes, there's a correlation, and there's an issue in the city where life is meaningless, and you can run people over and not see a day in jail for doing so, and you could be in the wrong.
I want to say
so that. Like this guy getting away and them letting them go, it's in the same light. It's like, what is a life worth? And I think in the city we're having an issue where we don't view homeless people in any light. You don't see them in a good light. You can't put them in a bad light. You can't put them anywhere really, but we have to deal with them every single day. The modern civilian. So like, what you're gonna get into problems when you let civilians dictate. When there's no systems, nobody's helping, you can't call a number, no assistance.
You could
You're
probably say
looking
the same
around
thing about
and all
cyclists, though.
you're looking around and all you have is your fellow person on the
Hold
train
on,
with
hold on,
you.
Dewey, because Tony's trying to ask a line of question and you keep like ranting like off the. What are you trying to get at? You saying you could say the same thing about cyclists?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that people, because he's saying that there's a system is failing the cyclists. I'm like saying it's two different things. Like the subway homeless thing and then the cyclist is two different things. You can't really
It's-
compare the two.
If you
Nah,
take
so,
away,
so you're remove how these people died,
Okay.
right? Think of it as a person killed another person and there's no repercussions for that killing. Right? Doe's saying there's a chilling effect where New Yorkers, the value of a life, they don't see it. They feel that, hey, people could just get away with killing people because the city doesn't care. They're not prosecuting people for these sort of like, oh, you killed a cyclist or a homeless person got beat to death. It's like, all right, some of these things that the city doesn't care so much about. And the fact that they're not prosecuting those things strongly encourages people to do these terrible things.
Okay.
He's not equating killing a cyclist to killing a
I
homeless
think
Yeah,
the
'cause it's
MTA
very-
has a lot to blame. The police. There should be someone at every station for assistance.
You don't have
did
enough
this shit?
cops in New York City to do that.
There should be some sort of form. It's not just on the NYPD. It's on the MTA. They're $1 billion corporation. It's on the government. It's on everyone. They're failing us, the civilians who have to use the system that they created. They're creating us a sort of lawlessness right now. And it's called the broken window effect. The police aren't doing anything so that everybody will notice the broken window and then ask them for help. We need you to help us fix this broken window. We need you, police. So the police are doing this weird virtue signaling thing where they're not trying to really do their job. And it started with the riots and stuff like that. And then they're getting their shit taken away. It's like a lot of politics in play.
It's a tactic by the police union is basically what it comes down to. There's a lot of talk about defunding cops, so a lot of the police unions have said, "Fuck them. Let's bring back our policing. Let's stop stopping crimes. And let's see how they like it," which is messed up. But to Doy's other point too about like the state of lawlessness and life not being valued. I mean, bring that in too with what I think is kind of like the typical like New Yorker approach to homeless people. A lot of the people that I've heard in my life use like dehumanizing language and refer to people as rats and cockroaches, things like that, when they're talking about homeless people, have been New Yorkers. New Yorkers have a very interesting relationship with homeless people. It's because they are just so deep in the city. It's so intertwined that yeah, I mean, you get to a state where people feel like life is worthless, and the lives that they've already kind of been looking at is kind of worthless, because that's been one of the, you know, the prevalent opinions in New York regarding the homeless people. You're going to see more incidents like this. People are going to start attacking homeless people more often.
The
So,
citizens.
like, I'm not going to sit here and say like a homeless person's life is worthless, but I acknowledge that homeless people are in a very difficult situation, and I hope they get the help they need. I don't want to deal with homeless people.
Oh, same.
I don't want
same.
nobody asking me for money. I don't want to deal with any stinky ass people or people with literal shit in their ass, walking in their pants, all that, like the terrible experiences that I a lot of horrible experience I've had are just being around homeless people. They're not the most pleasant group of people to be around. And I acknowledge that there's a lot of mental health issues and a lot of systemic issues that they're not getting the help that they need and things like that. As an individual, I don't ever want to deal with homeless people. That's just my view. But
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I've never enjoyed being panhandled too, right? I try to help out when I can. Like here in Texas, it gets hot as hell during the summer. I keep a case of water in the back of my car. I give out water bottles to homeless people, like whenever they're asking for water.
So
I'm not solving the homeless problem. I'm not capable of that in and of myself.
It's terrible because there is a dehumanizing aspect of it when you have to live in the city and deal with it every day. You do become like desensitized to it.
Mhm.
You care less because it's like, what can you do if I can barely make it ends meet? I can't give to this person. I feel bad. It's the worst thing, and I think a lot of New Yorkers don't even realize it. Is when you see a tourist on the train and something like this happens and the tourist is going crazy like, oh my god, what's happening? They're trying to attend to these people, and like the mentally ill people don't know how to deal with it. They're like, hold on, I've never had like someone. It's just so like it's weird, bro. It's weird because you'll see people in shock and people who don't care about it like in the same
Mhm.
cart.
The problem too is that these people are they create like a lot of these like drug addicts or homeless people, things like that. They cause a lot of discomfort even to just everybody that's on the train. It's like every corner of the train there's going to be some homeless guy stinking up the train, sleeping in the corner with random verbal outbursts. And it's like ain't nobody trying to sit next to that. As soon as you have to sit anywhere near that, you sit down with the thought of like, this dude better not start with me. Like, you're already like defensive about it. And it sucks because it's like you have these people that you grow this animosity towards this group of people that are making you uncomfortable every time you get on the train. So it's like your desire to want to help these people is very low. So I'm sure it's popular for people to want the government to do something about homelessness, but I'd imagine that most of the proposals people are going to be not that interested in because they're going to have these views, like Mateo said, more kind of conservative views. It's like, if you could panhandle all day, walk all over the city, know the city up and down better than almost anybody, you should be capable of getting a job and getting yourself out of your situation.
And
Like,
it's insensitive of me to say that because I've seen such smart homeless people, bro, but they're clearly mentally ill
Mhm.
and they can't function in society. And what happens when you can't function in society? You fall by the wayside and now you're just in some gray area. You're not making money so like you're just being pushed around. And it's fucking terrible, bro. Um it's
My first time ever going to New York, I talked to every single homeless person that initiated a conversation with me on the street. I was traveling like 1 block per 20 minutes or something like
that sounds horrible. I would not have wanted to be around that. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, I would have.
I was
But go.
it
I
was
do
the
think-
slowest
Was that
progress
the-
in the road. Every 10 minutes I was stopping to talk to someone new.
I do think though, going back to the topic, that guy should definitely go to jail. I don't think
There definitely
He is-
should be consequences for someone's death. Absolutely.
I don't think just because every day you deal with a homeless person and they're ranting and raving and asking for money, I don't think it's anyone's right to try to either get in a physical altercation, let alone I don't want to touch a homeless person. I don't know what type of, if they got some type of STD or something, or they got a knife on. I don't want to get any physical altercation with any homeless person.
I mean, that's fair. That
So-
could have turned real bad for that dude if that dude had a knife on him or something, right?
Or just spits on him or whatever, that bites him, whatever the heck it could be. It's just like you might have been having a bad day or something, and that just ticks you off to the point where now you're just gonna kill this guy. And then for the other two assholes holding that man down, the fuck were y'all doing? Like, what?
Or the whole train watching.
Even this
guy
person
get checked out.
recording, doing the recording, like, yo, why weren't you just saying like, yo, get off of him? Like, he's already passed out. Like, what the hell are you
I
doing?
can't believe somebody didn't go up and threaten the guy that was choking him.
Same,
Facts.
honestly.
Because I would have walked up and been like, bro, let him go. I'm going to start stomping your head in.
Facts.
like,
Like that shit is.
I would have started stomping that guy out. Like, that's just crazy. Like, to just watch somebody literally.
Continue to
Honestly, watching that, I just felt like, all right, this looks like how George Floyd died. Like that.
No,
like
it was
what I
twice
thinking.
as long than the guy put his knee on George Floyd's neck.
I had to watch without sound. I couldn't. I don't know. It was a very disturbing video. I did not enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
no, yeah, that to
Yeah.
me.
Like I liked when it felt like it kind of got glossed over, but I really like the way Mateo put it. Is that like had that same altercation happened and the Marine whipped out a gun and shot the guy in the head, no one would be debating whether it was justified or not. People would have been like, throwing trash at someone doesn't equate with taking somebody's life.
Yeah.
I acknowledge what you're saying though, where of course it's about how much force you're using is ultimately what it comes down to. If I have an altercation with someone in the train and I throw a punch and that one punch ends up killing somebody, first off, people have gone to jail for this.
Yeah, and you're
But-
responsible for that. Absolutely.
But to me, it's a lesser thing. It's a one moment, instant thing that there isn't necessarily a reasonable like expectation that I'm gonna punch this guy one time and they're gonna die. Like that's just not really like a thought a lot of people think of. I think choking somebody, especially after they go limp, is very clear that like you're literally choking the life out of them.
Mhm.
Like I don't.
Yeah.
And that's why I was trying to be clear on what Doughboy was saying, because it just sounded like he was, but we deal with this every day in New York. It's a constant begging. It's a constant this. And they're constantly doing this and screaming and yelling. And
There's
I'm just like,
I think
that
you
doesn't
have
matter.
to take that into account.
No.
That how
Yeah,
bad it's getting.
I just think that the way that you're saying it makes it sound like you're excusing the guy who does. It's the thing. It's just a way that you talk where you like say an opinion and then you say a lot of other words that make it sound like you don't agree with that opinion. And I already understand how this goes, but like the way that when you say that, it makes it sound like you're excusing the actions of this person because of this like larger issue. My perspective is that on an individual basis, no one should be choking anybody out. And if anybody chokes anybody out, they should face repercussions. Additionally, we should be going to the city and talking to these officials and pointing out to them, do you see that you not addressing these problems are creating these other problems? Right? To me, those are two separate conversations. I'm not going to say because the city isn't doing anything about it, then it makes sense that it's happening. And then it's like, can we even blame them? Like, that's the next question. It's like the implied question in what you're saying. And that's the part I disagree
Yeah,
with.
because then if he did say that, then I was gonna kind of twist it in a way with the cyclist thing. Like, could you blame the drivers because the cyclists be driving crazy on the blocks? They don't stay in their lines all the time.
True.
They don't.
Yeah, but
they're doing these
okay.
Idaho stops. They're
But to
swerving in
that-
and out. So if you get hit by a thing, that's on you.
Okay, so to that, I would say, look at the amount of cyclists, people dying from cyclists hitting them, and look at how many accidents are killing people whether it be on cyclists, or pedestrians, and each other. Cars kill more people than anything. It's like worse than
Yeah, that-
Can't
that's
compare
not-
those
like-
two though.
Yeah, but that's not the conversation. The equivalent, though, is that, like, can you blame these cars for hitting these cyclists when the city isn't building safe infrastructure for the cyclists to ride in? Is it really the driver's fault? That's like the equivalent of sort of what you're saying. I would say it is the driver's fault. Don't crash these cyclists, right? But it does sound like you're pointing to a
the
systemic
reality
issue.
It's the
to say-
reality
yeah,
of the
sure.
situation.
Yeah, you're pointing to a systemic issue to kind of excuse the actions of the individual. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
but-
I also don't agree with it, but when you're letting people go free, and when for years and years you're running people over and you're getting away with it, and everybody is kind of in, and they're like, okay, so I'm not gonna get in trouble if I run somebody over. What's the real issue? You know what I mean? Like, it just creates a level of worthlessness to like life. It just, what is a life worth?
Just to be clear, because it sounds like you're doing it again. I know you're not intending it. You're saying it makes sense that it's happening, but it's not okay that it's happening.
it does
is that-
like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Okay, cool.
It's happening
Because it sounds
because
like you're
the
not saying that.
the
but-
system that they're failing us. They're on one end, they're not what happens when there's no laws? What happens when there's no police? No, I'm asking you guys. You guys
No, it's
answer me.
obvious.
There's
It's
a state
obvious.
of lawlessness, right? And
Bad
then
things, bad happens.
people start doing bad shit, and that's what's happening. It's there's no repercussions. Somebody can fucking throw a bag of feces at somebody. Somebody can punch an old lady in the face, and then they get out. And there's like no real repercussion. There's no assistance for the mental ill when they have an episode and these things happen. There's no systems in place.
Donald
Eh,
Trump said once that he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and he wouldn't lose any voters. And maybe the man was right. Maybe,
No,
maybe we get closer and closer to that every day.
yeah, no, you shoot a cyclist, I guarantee.
Yeah, I just think it's a way that you say things that
And I just want clarity.
it just makes it sound like when you're saying, because like, all right, I'm understanding what you're saying is like, it makes sense that this is happening because if the city isn't prosecuting these things, there are going to be people that are going to take advantage of the lack of prosecutions, right? Like, I get that. It's just when you couple that, when you're asking, did this guy do something wrong? It sounds like you're excusing the actions of him because the city isn't doing something. And I don't think we should excuse the actions of what he did. You should say what you did was wrong, regardless of whether the city's prosecuting people or not. It makes sense. It makes more sense that it happened, right? Like I could logic why someone would do something like that. It doesn't make it okay. Like,
no, for sure. And once again, I'm not saying that it's okay that this young man lost his life. But in New York, and why I shouldn't say but, this man shouldn't have lost his life. Period. Period.
Oh, I thought you
He
were gonna say
shouldn't
something
have-
else.
He shouldn't have lost his life. That shit was wrong. There's no buts about it. But
it's a good save. Usually they
just-
say everything you
just
say
but again.
before the but doesn't matter.
yeah. So like the way I see it is like we're focused on his death, right? But like, how could we prevent these things from happening?
Well, the right wingers would
is the
tell
way
you,
I'm saying it.
don't make it political. All right, we need to stay right here. This is the death that matters, right?
Roll credits. Executive producer Dick Wolf.
I honestly feel like, yeah. How do we, like? It's sad, right? This person died. Blah blah blah. How now that this people's attention is on this issue, how do we leverage that attention into actual change into the city? And it sounds shitty to say, how do we capitalize off the death of this person is essentially what I'm asking. It sounds terrible, but it just is what it is, right?
Car
Like
drivers.
if we got the attention, when a mass shooting happens, people ask for gun reform,
Then we don't
right?
get
Because
it.
they're like, yo, the situation's out of control. A lot of right wingers would be like, now is not the time to talk about the guns. Think about the lives. It's like, yeah, but like, think about the lives. It's like, all right, guess we can't talk about why these things are happening, but
Yeah, and as far as the I think there's just more than just people just running people over. Like me just going to New York and seeing it firsthand, like no one gives a damn about the lines, no one gives a damn about lights. Like, so it's just like that's just a ticking bomb as well. Like I can see why people get killed riding a bike in New York City. It's just as bad as people riding a motorcycle in Florida.
But it's not like a bike runs into a car and kills everybody inside of it,
Oh,
right?
of course not.
It's
though,
always
but
the other way around.
that's why that's why it's more that you bikers should follow the lanes and stay in your lane and not cut off and not go through red lights. It's more you know what I mean? Like even you watching you speed through New York City, I'm like, yo, I'm stopping at every light. I'm looking both ways and I'm going like you just gotten so used to riding a certain way and you're just forgetting like how vulnerable you are to the rest of the world.
I ride so that I don't die. When you follow
That's
the
crazy.
rules, when you follow the rules in New York, the infrastructure is created so that you die. That's a proven fact. Look at the way everyone has died in the last 10, 15, 20, 30 bicycle crashes. You got people following the rules being good citizens, and then a truck makes a right turn and doesn't look to see if there's somebody right there and just runs them over. And it's like, are the trucks evil? No, we're not going to call the people evil. We're not going to say that there's an issue with cars, but the city is failing human beings as a whole. They're treating cyclists like they don't matter. When you can run someone over, and then when it goes to court, all you get is a 2 hour driving course, or like a week's driving course, and a $2,000 fine. What is that telling the rest of the truckers out there?
So let me
Like
ask you
that
this though. So do you think that guy that going off of your example, do you think the guy that made that right turn and ran into the biker that's in the little bike lane and killed him, do you think he wasn't expecting that person to be there because the usual biker drivers are always just cutting traffic and not following the rules? So they gotten so used to people not following the rules that he's not expecting, even though he should have looked. I'm not saying it's not good. He should have
you're
looked.
Objection.
James,
But-
Objection. Leading the witness.
but but they're already, it's a normalized thing that the bikers just don't stop. They don't listen, they don't follow the rules. So if everyone's trained that way, I get it. He needs to look and be, you're a driver.
it's almost like you're advocating for cyclists. That's all I can see why it happens. You're
It's
turning
kinda,
into
I'm kind of turning
into
what
the
you was
devil's
doing a little bit.
advocate.
No, I think
Yeah.
everybody's gonna react to everybody's actions. If there's never anybody parked in the bike lane, naturally people are just not gonna check the bike lane. right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then when someone's parked there and something bad happens, it's like, well, shit. Like, you're not gonna blame all the other bikers that don't stop in the bike lane. Like, I wouldn't. I would blame the truck driver who just ran somebody over.
Yeah.
But they've just been so used to, so accustomed to that.
That
it's
doesn't
like,
stop your
it's
training
not good, though.
as a truck driver, though, right? That's gonna supersede your training that you received in CDL to like make sure you're checking your mirrors, make sure you're doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah, and making sure you stop by the red light, not running it as a
Yeah.
biker. Those are all
like-
these. You can use. That's what I'm saying. You can use your thing. You
Say
can use
it-
it both ways, bro.
I'm
It's just,
telling you, you're
Two
it's
wrongs-
weird because I'm telling you that the people who did, you're almost the people who did do what you want them to do got killed because of the bad design.
Yeah, but
So-
Tony's saying, did they get killed because all the other people aren't doing the rule?
I
If
don't.
every biker stopped at every red light,
then
would
that doesn't.
the question is, do you think more people would die or less people would die? That's really the question.
I think that's like a straw man because if you, what would you say to every bad driver out there? Every driver that blew a
You're
red
doing
light.
like a what about? You're like changing. I'm just
I'm
asking.
just saying, what would
if everybody? I know, but I'm saying
You're
if
gonna
every
have
cyclist
people that
stopped at
break
a red
the
light, do you
rules.
think more people would die or do you think less people? Would
right
die?
now,
That's-
not following what
if all the cyclists stopped at red lights instead
You'd
of
have
doing
more
Idaho
deaths.
stops, you think they would? Okay, perfect.
you'd
You
have
would
more
think there's
deaths. That's what
There
that's
you go,
what
Tony.
the statistics show.
That's what Tony's asking. That's
Yeah.
it. There, you're
That's-
just like not engaging with what he's saying.
But
Yeah.
so I don't know how I'm not engaging because I'm trying to tell you that the design of the street is failing cyclists.
that's a different
So
conversation, though.
if you do follow the rules, you have a higher chance of dying.
Well, yeah, that's a fine response. But that's not what you were saying. You were talking about, oh, what about the truck driver's training? It's like, no, he's just asking, do you think if everybody stopped at the red light, more people would die or less people? And you think more people would die. So that's it. That's his opinion. Tony, you think less people would die, right?
Yeah, people.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, people just follow the bike
All
lane.
right. I don't know enough about this issue to say either which way. To
Same.
be completely
I
honest.
have no idea.
But at the end of the day, we know one thing: cars are killing people. It's not cyclists killing cars. It's cars are killing people.
I
And
mean, people killing people.
that
Right?
and nobody's really addressing the big issue.
Cars are killing people, Tony.
They
Nah,
kill
I
pedestrians,
knew that would make somebody laugh,
pedestrians,
but-
and you just look at the statistics. You're
All right,
more likely to die in a
I don't know
car
why this is
accident.
an important distinction, though.
It's important because when you create, like I said, when you have a city with 9 million pedestrians and you're mixing them, you giving them not enough walking space. You're giving them not enough anything, and you're getting a lot of people dying from getting from cars. The taxis have maimed people in the last few years. It's a huge issue, but nobody ever says we need to get rid of these cars when it's the main issue. It's you're literally looking at a killing machine in the city. They're murdering people, and there's really nothing being done about it.
New
Now
York's just
there is.
overpopulated, bro.
That's
Such a
not an
small
Yeah, I
excuse.
wonder
city.
how bad these
Yeah.
problems really are. That was one thing I was just thinking. Is like even if a lot of instances occur, we're talking about millions of people packed into a tiny space. It's like for all we know, the driving in New York City is safer than many other cities in America.
I'm not
Because
gonna
you're
lie.
going 20 because the city mandated is 25 miles an hour, which makes it safe. So when you do get hit, you're at a slower rate, and people are higher.
Like, I'm not
chances of
saying it
living.
is safer. I was just saying for all we know, you have the perception that is unsafe, but maybe it is more safe. You know,
Blame the New York Post.
Right. Save us, Tony. We're looking.
Yeah.
We're like we had a whole. We added like a whole topic here. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, so switching on to our next topic. How important is the replayability of video games? Mateo brought up a interesting
Sorry, I'm just laughing at just like how serious the last topic was to just.
that's why I wanted to put it in the middle.
I was like, oh my god, it's just so funny.
Yeah, I think we got a bad order here. From the top, let's take it back
Yeah,
to the
right.
beginning. We got to switch up the order.
Switch of order. Welcome to the one up. Nah. Yeah, Mateo said he came across these old gaming magazines, right? And the way that they had gave the game a score was like graphics, gameplay, immersiveness, and or these different like subcategories, and they tallied up the scores. One of those groups were replayability. And then the question kind of came up like, man, back in the day we were so concerned about replayability. Is that still a thing that gamers really care about today?
I'm gonna say no. I think the average gamer wants the next new best thing. I don't think once they go to the new game or the new whatever, they don't go back to playing it unless you're one of the other few or the other half of the gamers who likes to go back and play the game. And not all games are replayable.
I'm gonna agree with Tony. I've got a very non-scientific method I use to gather some data for this. I went and looked through Steam achievements, right? And a lot of games have achievements for beating the game, right? They don't have like the platinum trophy thing like PlayStation where you've done everything in the game, right? But they at least have the one that's like you beat the game, you get this achievement. Most games have like 10% or 20% of people that own it have that achievement. Most people aren't even playing their games. So I can tell you that those people don't care about replayability if you're not even beating the game in the first place.
To completion.
To completion.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I do this sometimes. I go to like PSN profiles where you could see how many people who own the game, who has played the game. It'll be like 98% of people got this trophy and 86%. And so I like when there's like story-based games like complete chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's basically saying how far did someone get. Well, it'll be like complete chapter 1, 98%. Complete chapter 2, 56%. You're like, whoa, 50% of people who bought this game didn't even get past the 2-hour mark.
Yep.
I'm like, what the? And then when you look at how many people beat the game, it'd be like 20-something%. I'm like, whoa, 75% of people bought this game and didn't even finish it. Those are, I don't know, it's just something I look at from time to time. I just find it interesting,
I feel like
especially in certain games where like there may be a very divisive section of the game. You could go and look at the next chapter trophy and see a lot of people didn't get that one, like because they were just like, yeah, I'm done with the game at this point.
Sounds like you're talking about Last of Us Part 2 or something. Just looking at the trophies on
Yeah.
that one.
And when you look through it, you get to those Abby parts and people weren't having Abby.
No, yeah. I definitely see that in a lot of games. Like, even for me, there's some games that I bought and I played and I enjoyed it. I just never went back to play it. I just kind of lost interest in it. It's Horizon's one of those games that did it for me, you know. And it was just like, damn, I enjoyed it. The time I was playing, I got pretty far. Didn't finish it. I didn't even finish Death Stranding. I think what happened was me building the city for my people that were in my server just took it out of me. I built zip lines. I built like 85% of the roadways. I did a lot day one for this community that didn't give a damn. And I think it took me out of it for sure. And when it comes back to just the like replayability, there's a lot of games you like the average game now, you're never gonna go back and play.
Yeah, what is the replayability on like Elden Ring? Unless you're one of those people that's very into like those Souls-like kind of games, right? Most people aren't going to beat Elden Ring multiple times. The people that do like Elden Ring and mess with it like that, though, they're going to beat it 5 times. They're going to do every build they can. They're going to do a faith build and a strength build or what vigor or whatever the hell is in that game. I haven't put enough time into that game.
I was gonna say the Souls games are actually pretty replayable because they tend to all have new game plus. So you get to jump back in the game. The enemies are harder. You keep all your equipment upgrades, all that kind of jazz, and then you go to get different endings. And just by being this like that much stronger, even though the enemies get stronger, you know the game, you know the attack patterns, and the fact that you're stronger, even though the enemies get stronger, you're still strong. Like you have advantages over them. You kind of fly through those games.
And that's boring.
Gotcha.
And especially Elden Ring, this open world, there's so much time I spent in places. Like if you start mainlining the game, you could probably get through it quick. But I agree with what you're saying. I was gonna ask Doe how you felt about it, but you alluded to my answer, which is I find the replayability important in games. I love to replay games. I have replayed games a lot less as the years gone by because there's just so many games now. I don't have that much time to like replay through things, but also it's like go look at my hours on like I played Metal Gear Solid 5 for like 100 hours. Like if I'm gonna replay that game, I'm gonna put another 100 into it. Like it's
I
like,
would say also,
that's just too much. That's just too much. And there's just too many games. I feel like as the gaming industry has made this stride towards, and it's really the consumers too, but this how many hours do I get out of this game per dollar? That goal has made games less replayable because now it's like, yeah, let's pack 80 hours worth of content into the $60 game. Even though there's good parts to it, I don't want to play 80 hours of anything again.
That's an interesting thing, actually. So the Funhouse guys that I used to watch on one of their podcasts or some content that they made one time, one of the dudes that used to be on that show, he made the claim that video games should give you, at minimum, you should get $1 for every dollar you spend on the game. You should get 1 hour of gameplay out of it.
Wow. I mean,
yeah.
And they dragged him. Like they made fun of him a lot for that statement because it's kind of it's a goofy statement.
Do you guys think?
But there's aspects of that I kind of agree with though. Like I kind of think that like to Pooch's point, you should get some kind of bang for your buck.
For sure.
But what do you think makes gaming different? Because like you go to the movie theaters, you pay $15 to sit down and watch a 2-hour movie. It's like you know that's like I don't know $7.50 per hour of content, right? Like which is right way more than the guy mentioned, right? Not saying that he's the metric we need to go by now, but just thinking of $1 an hour, like it's weird to me that gamers are like they pay $60 for a game, and if a game is 15 hours, they're like the game is too short for how much it costs and blah blah. It's like, all right, I don't know. They're like I don't know. I just find the media's different. I don't know. I just find it interesting. Like you buy a book for like $15, you could read that book for 20 hours. Like that's how long it may take you to fly through a book, right?
Plus, it's got max replayability.
It has to do with friends, bro. Honest replayability, I think, has to do with friends. Almost 90%. Just because, like, we go back and play Overcooked. I go back and play Rainbow Six Siege. I go back to play Battlefield 5. I go back to play all these multiplayer games. So that to me is where replayability really counts for the mass of gamers. Now, there are the select few, the RPG heads, the guys who like to, do these master runs or whatever. But for the majority, which is a lot, I think playing with your friends will make you go back and play older games 100% of the time. Like, I'm not going to go back and play Battlefield 5 by myself. Not. If Doey says, yo, let's do a little quick tank run, boom, he'll go. Then, oh, look, Pucho's joined us. Oh, look, Zeus joined us. Same thing with Overwatch. Junior's on it. Junior, you want to run it? Run it. Zeus, boom. Doughboy, boom. Even though they abandoned us last time. But still, though, these are like, replayability definitely has to do with playing with your friends. I'm not gonna.
I don't view multiplayer games as that doesn't count as replayability.
Why not?
In my mind. Because you're just playing the game that they designed. That's just the multiplayer game is the game. It's not.
You think it's only storylines should be the only thing that's counts for replayability?
I think that's what people are talking about when they're talking about replayability. They're not talking about how many times do you go back to log into Rocket League.
I would agree with Bucho just because replayability is just such a very 90s gaming kind of phrase. Yeah. And we didn't really have a lot of, you didn't have multiplayer games that you weren't sitting on your couch with your buddies to play or something, right? So when they were talking about replayability, they were talking about the story game itself.
I think it's the most and it's always been the most important things for me. But I think you lose when games are AAA and there's so much money put into them. I think replayability kind of loses its footing there. But I think some of now that I think about it, are my favorite games, RTS games. They're all made to play differently every time you play them, and it just gives us some sort of structure of replayability. I have 800 hours in Enter the Gungeon, and they've put so much there that I'm still finding new stuff. And that's a level of replayability, like the fact that you can play it for that long and still not, there's a level of randomness where things are going to be new. I think those roguelites are the best for replayability. But then you even have things like Resident Evil 2. I went back and played that game a lot, like the original Resident Evil 2. It was just a really fun game from beginning to end.
So updates for you is what's replayability for you then? Because if they didn't updating the game, like new content, like new DLCs, that's a big part of, I think, we're playing the story game modes.
But then you have games like Oblivion, and where it's made that you could have a lot of different experiences. You can go a lot of different routes.
That's different though. Yeah, that's a little different than what I'm saying, but that is also true. Like, they build a game strictly to have multiple storylines to go. That makes replayability. But games like Enter the Gungeon or the game that Pucho played, I feel like hundreds of hours, Binding of Isaac.
The Binding of Isaac,
it's great.
Like
the roguelike games are cheat codes because they're all randomly generated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The games are designed around replayability. That's literally the main design, the main focus of these roguelike games. My problem with them is that they don't feel that different. That's really my issue. Is that once you played a single run of Enter the Gungeon, all the subsequent runs are samey, in my opinion. Same with Isaac. There's a very similar flow through those levels. Maybe you got different guns, different items that make the gameplay feel different, and that it does lend itself to replaying it and experiencing different things. As a person who has sunk hundreds of hours into roguelikes, I played Enter the Gungeon, Binding of Isaac, Rogue Legacy,
FTL,
a ton, FTL. All these runs be feeling the same, especially once you're a good player. You min-max the shit out of your run. Mm-hmm. You're making the same decisions over and over and over and over again.
You're just hoping
it's
the RNG.
It almost feels like a sickness. Like you're just on a loop.
You're just hoping the RNG doesn't screw you on this next run. That's what a lot of it just comes down to.
I think that's why Grand Theft Auto is so successful, because of the updates. Because people going back and doing this new game mode or new things or adding this. So it's a mixture of a lot of things. Roguelike games, I think they kill themselves just because of what Pucho just explained. Yes, it's a different character, different way, different enemies. Certain things change all the time, but it's still the same. So it's go ahead.
Regarding like this this thing that Bucha brought up though, I want to go back to you were talking about like the movie scale. Like people go and spend $15 for a 2.5 hour movie and they don't bat an eye. They're not like, I really should have gotten 15 hours of movie out of that $15 that I spent.
It's the
But
experience.
but I feel like we might be from a generation where we don't relate to some of these complaints people have about some of the cost of gaming and how they need a certain amount of hours out of the game, because we all grew up with arcades. And think of how fast you could go through money at an arcade. $20 an hour, that's a light arcade session.
I hated arcades even when I was a kid. I was like, this is BS.
But is the argument like the Super Mario World should have been like $200 because of how much you're gonna get from it?
That's actually the flip they always dropped on this guy whenever we would talk about the dollar an hour. They're like, so technically, if you're getting 200 hours out of a game, you would be fine paying $200 for it. He's like, I didn't say that. And they're like, well, then your argument doesn't hold any weight.
That's a Pucho flip.
Because there's games that I didn't pay a lot for that I got so much enjoyment and replayability from.
I have never paid a dime for Rocket League, so I actually bought one of their I bought their season pass when I started replaying it recently, because I was like, I've gotten like 10 hours, like not 10 hours, I've gotten like hundreds of hours of gameplay out of this. I can toss these developers $20 for
Same
for
thing
a
for
season pass.
Fortnite. Same thing for Fortnite, bro. I bought a shit ton of skins. I didn't pay nothing for the game. But the skin,
Fortnite
I mean,
itself is
That's
just a
how-
game that you replay.
I mean, Deep Rock Galactic, every time they drop like their cosmetic packs and whatnot, I drop money on their cosmetic packs. I like the developer. I like the way that they approach the community. I like the stuff that they add into the game. I'll toss some money. I want to support that.
Their progression system sucks. I'll say that.
It's a little goofy.
I like the game. Me and Doey have put easily 50 hours into that game. We don't have a single character that is at like there's like a level that you get to where your character gets like a rating or something.
Yeah, you like prestige up.
There's like 5 machines we can't use. I'm like, this is so frustrating. I want to use this stupid machine.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we put in 50 hours into this game and it's still saying you need to progress further. That game looks as if it's locked behind paywalls and it's just not. It's like, that's so bizarre to me. Like, it looks like pay to win, but it's not.
They even have like a battle pass, and it's like, but there's no way to like buy in or anything.
That's a game that I'm like, if I could pay $5 to boost me ahead to like access these machines, I'll gladly pay it, because I'm like, this progression system is, I don't know.
If it makes you feel better, there's a machine in there that I can't use because I don't have any buddies at my level, so I can't use this deep dive machine because I can't play with anyone.
The deep dive missions.
That sucks.
It's just been sitting in the corner. I go there every once in a while, and I'm like, wow, I still can't use this shit.
It's nothing but negative feelings, actually. You walk over to the barrel game, you can only score like, you only get a certain score. I try to get 100 barrels. I could get to like 60.
It's tough, dude.
Hard as hell. Then, so you feel bad about that. Then you walk up to all the machines, and you can't use them. You just feel bad, and you're just like, this is, I'm supposed to like this game. Like, I don't know. I really enjoy the game, but that's the part that kills
I would
it for me
say,
is the progression. And that is also where I wanted to take the conversation. Because I was shit talking roguelikes. The thing that actually holds me in those games is the progression. In Rogue Legacy, there's a story. So the reason you're replaying is to actually beat the story. So you keep replaying until you go get to the end of the game. Then that makes it unique in that regard. The other roguelikes, though, Isaac, Gungeon, the things you're doing is like you're unlocking characters, you're unlocking alternate like versions of those characters, and you're unlocking different features for those characters. Then there's like challenges. And then there's even every time you play as these characters, there's certain feats that you could achieve that unlocks more of the game. In Gungeon, every time you do runs, you get these, they're called like hegemony credits. Then you could use those credits to unlock crazier guns that make your subsequent runs more interesting. Binding of Isaac has a similar thing with unlocking new characters. You start off with Isaac, then you get Maggie, then Eve, then Judas. Like you start unlocking all these characters, they all play a little different, and it adds like a little flavor to the game. And I think what makes these games replayable is not just the fact that they're roguelikes, but it's that they're packed with content. Even though he brought up Resident Evil 2, go back and play Resident Evil 2. You play the game as Leon, then you play the game as Claire, then you play an alternate story with Leon, then an alternate story with Claire. So you just beat the game 4 times and had 4 different experiences. After you do that, there's Mercenaries mode. There's the Hunk mission, which is like there's the Tofu mission, and then depending on what version of the game you have, like on the N64 version, they have like the randomizer mode, which
The
is like
DualShock version had that.
It mixes it up where every item in the game is, right?
Yep.
right.
That's interesting.
And there's another mode in you unlock like an extra hard mode,
But
so all of this was packed into Resident Evil 2 for the price of the game.
is there a big
like-
head mode?
Yeah, and look at that. Double O's. Look at GoldenEye. Oh my God, that game is so replayable. Every single mission, there was Secret Agent, Double O Agent, and then there was one more secret mode if you beat all the levels on Double O Agent. So it's like you had to replay each level upwards of 4 times, not counting all the times you failed to beat the mission. But like if you're a perfect gamer, you got to beat every level 4 times to fully experience that game. It just lends itself to playing those games a lot.
Another thing I heard about the GoldenEye games recently, their difficulty system, that agent, double O agent, or whatever the hell, right? Each higher difficulty didn't change anything with the enemies. It didn't make the enemies like bullet sponges. It didn't make their AI better or anything like that. It just gave you extra objectives to do.
I remember
Yeah.
them dudes being extra aggressive and aiming better than ever. They go from stormtroopers to the way that the characters in Star Wars talk about stormtroopers. They're like, only a stormtrooper could shoot with this level of precision. And then you see them in a movie and they're like trying to shoot people and they're like shooting over here. You're like, what are you doing?
That line does not make any sense in that movie. Like there's a lot of issues in Star Wars in general. That's one of the biggest ones.
But yeah.
I feel like a lot of games are not designing themselves around that structure anymore. I think they're
Right.
trying to create a storied experience.
Well, it gets tough, right? Because like they could add some of that goofy stuff in again. Imagine playing Last of Us in big head mode. I'd play that.
Actually, Naughty Dog, they're some of the best developers at this. Because when you beat the game, they have like a currency. As you play the game, they're giving you coins. You're like, what do I use these coins for? Well, they have like these bonus shops. And you could spend that currency on unlocking different skins.
Ratchet and Clank was
then
the
you
best at that.
You could play the game as, you're playing Uncharted. You could play as Elena, or you could play as Chloe. I think there's like the game. Then you can unlock the cheat codes for the game. So then it's like everybody moves fast, or the game plays in slow motion.
When you aim your gun, everything slows down. That was my favorite one.
Right. They
That's
do
cool.
actually. They do a lot of cool stuff like that. That they're probably wasting their time, because people like even me. I love these games. I only play around with that stuff for like an hour. So then you got a question like, all right, should developers spend their money on this if players aren't valuing it?
Yeah, there's definitely been a shift in the focus, especially since the 90s. But I mean, part of that is because games in the 90s were not very long. They did 2 things to like get you replaying them. They had different like goofy modes, like we talked about, and the games are hard. The games are hard as hell. That's how you turned like a game that you could probably speed run in 4 hours if you tried, into a game that you'd rent week after week at Blockbuster because you were just trying to beat it. These games are hard.
Yeah, back then games is very difficult.
And I think the mentality of the player has changed too. A game like Metal Gear Solid 1, for example, there is some degree of replayability because you unlock the bandana, which gives you infinite ammo, or the stealth camouflage, which makes you invisible.
Fire.
And then I think you could unlock a tuxedo where Snake is just running around. He looks like James Bond, but you get nothing for it. I beat that game like 50 times. And it's like, there was nothing that was really like bringing me back to play other than the enjoyment of that game. And I think the mentality of the player has changed. It's like, we don't fully experience anything anymore. We go for like the quickest version of the game that we could. We want to get all the juicy bits possible in the shortest amount of time, and then we're getting the hell out of there.
Did you ever beat Metal Gear 2 in European Extreme mode?
No, but I played a little bit, but I didn't like every time you get caught, it's game over. It's like,
That's
shit.
wild. I've been playing a game recently that I think is kind of like retraining my brain a little bit because this game is pure story. It's 100% story. You can speed through conversations if you want, but why would you? Everything's fully voice acted, and that's part of the whole experience. I've been playing Disco Elysium. The game is so good. It is so good. The writing in is top notch. The voice acting is amazing. But I could see people being bored with the game because it is just it's just a puzzle game. You're just walking around, you're solving puzzles, and you're just talking to people. That's all that's happening in the game. But I feel like it's kind of retraining my brain because I'd gotten into this thing where like I was playing RPGs and I'm just skipping through the dialogue. Just mashing and just trying to like, I get it. The kingdom's in trouble. We've got to go. We got to save some shit. I understand. I don't need all the talky about this. So I'm kind of retraining my brain a little bit, I think, with this game.
Our attention span has just gotten shorter over time. Or as you get over.
My attention span is incredibly short.
Because
like these games that have full voice acting, I skip through all the voice acting. Because they just talk so slow. So I like games that let me skip through the voice acting, but they have the text there. So I read what the actors are gonna say, and then I just skip it. Like, especially for a game like Disco Elysium, where 90% of the game is listening to people talk. I just can't bear it. It actually kills me. Like, I want to be able to put these people's talking at 2x speed. I get very impatient listening to people's like just talk so slow.
What's worse is when you're playing this kind of game and you're like playing it with Bucho watching you. He gets so impatient. He's like, "But what are you waiting for? Skip!"
You know, there's the only complaint I have about Disco Elysium is I think they did it backwards. They have it set so when you're just running around doing puzzles and, you know, interacting with things, time isn't moving. Time does not progress. Time only progresses when you're talking to someone and they're actually talking, or you're waiting to choose like a response, basically. Which makes me feel like I need to speed run the conversations so I'm not wasting time in my day in that game.
I wasn't aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how time moved forward in that game.
I get the reason.
I don't think I made it out of the lobby in that game. Like there's like that area where you're like walking around. Mm-hmm. I hate when I'm trying to figure out what to do and you gotta keep talking to the same people repeatedly just to see are they gonna say something different, but then they just say the same thing and then you're like listening to them say it again and you're like, oh my god,
I love it, dude. It gives me just like Secret of Monkey Island vibes or like
point and click.
Maniac Mansion. It takes me just back to some of these old school games that I love so much. I'm enjoying so much of my time with Disco Elysium.
Yep.
Same. Also, I've made it far enough to where I'd want to create a different type because I went super mind. I wanted to be a smart guy. And then I realized there's so many things in the game where you have to like brute force it with strength. And so then I built a strength character and the game plays out differently. And I really like the writing even plays out differently for that guy, which is cool.
Yeah. All right, let me exit this shit out.
Exit the shit
Like,
out.
Yeah, I felt like he was. Yeah, I said the same thing.
That's
in
good.
my brain.
Tony got word problems.
I'm a wordsmith, some would say.
I want to know what the opposite of a smith is, because that's what you're a word that.
Word
Fuck
destructor.
you, word that. You're a word
the
that.
word demolisher.
Y'all ever y'all remember Homestar Runner or Strong Bad's emails?
No.
Mm-mm.
There was a job that they described in one of those one time. They refer to someone as a poop smith, and I always thought that was one of the funnier professions that I've heard referenced.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you stuck with us through this beautiful, lengthy episode of the One Up. Hit that subscribe button. Like, follow, share. We're on everywhere. All social media platform, Discord, whatever. We know the whole thing. As always, go one up yourself.
I'm doing the thing from like the old TV shows. Those credits are rolling, and they're just like all the sounds cut, and they're just on stage interacting. So I was going for that.
I love it. They'll start to have conversations with each other, and you're like, I want to hear what they're saying.
I want to know what they're saying so bad, dude.
Yeah.
I got distracted and I was trying to find the etymology of Smith. Why is it blacksmith? What does black have to do with metallurgy? And then what does Smith have to do with anything?
Because they get black from all the iron and all the smoke and all that. There's
Maybe not. You will usually be surprised by where the origin of things come from. But
And then they end up as last people's names when they came over here or some bullshit like that. That's how they started naming Millers and...
Anyways, ladies, enjoy your night. Peace. This is like the never ending.
I thought we ended it.
Oh, we just kept talking.